Hey friends, it's Emma Churchman coming to you live from my home office here in Asheville, North Carolina. And so here's what I want to share with you today. I want to tell you the real honest truth about why some of my clients do not get the results that they say that they want. And what I'm going to share with you is not talked about a lot in our industry, especially coaches who are running a multi-six-figure business, right? Because we want people to believe that coaching always works, and it doesn't. You know, what's fascinating is what I've discovered that's kind of standard in the industry is only 2 or 3 out of every 10 people actually get results from coaching, which is phenomenal because there are folks out there who are spending tens of thousands of dollars on coaching and not getting results. So I want to speak to coaches today because I really want you to hear this. I want you to be in integrity around who you decide to take on as a client. And if you are a client who's not getting results from coaching, or if you're thinking about hiring a coach, I want you to watch this too, because it's really important for you to be honest with yourself about what it takes to get results from coaching. So this Facebook Live may be a little bit long because I've got a lot to cover, but it is gonna be good. And if you want it in writing, I'm going to do a blog post about this. So in the comments section, just put your email address and I'll make sure that you get that upcoming blog post. Okay, so the number one reason why I see conscious entrepreneurs, so those are the folks that I work with, the people who are on a conscious path, coaches and healers, practitioners, not get results from coaching with folks who are not me, is because they're trying to apply someone else's magic business formula to their business. And the more conscious you are, the less you can do business in traditional ways. So the first thing I want you to do is give yourself permission to create your own business model based on your own energy, rather than trying to do someone else's business model that feels totally uncomfortable and foreign to you. So food for thought. What I have, how I have failed as a coach is by doing the following. So number one, I have in the past not correctly assessed whether or not someone was actually ready for coaching. And sometimes I've incorrectly assessed which of my coaching programs they need to go into, right? So I've listened to their words. I've heard them say, yes, I'm ready for transformation. I'm ready to break through fear. I'm ready to get uncomfortable. I'm ready to get new results. I'm ready to step into running a six-figure business. I was listening to their words, but I wasn't trusting my gut. And as coaches, you know, it's a really intimate experience to coach another person in business or in health or whatever your industry is. It's very intimate and it involves people getting authentic and getting vulnerable. And if your gut is telling you that the person in front of you or on the phone with you isn't going to be willing to get authentic and vulnerable and uncomfortable, they're not going to be a good fit for you. And I don't care what your coaching style is, but you're always going to have to address the inner mindset, right? Because our inner mindset will keep us from losing weight, making a sale, speaking from a stage, lots of different things. So really listen to your gut more than what your prospect's words are saying. I wanted the results for my clients more than they wanted the results for themselves. I had more urgency than they did around creating results. And that is a recipe for disaster, right? Because if your client doesn't want the results, they're not going to get the results. Or another pattern that I had was seeing the potential in my clients, like seeing what they could step into and kind of addressing them, dealing with them at that level rather than being present with them where they were. You know, we've got to start with people where they are, not where we want them to be or where they want to be, because that futurized thinking isn't going to help you in the present moment. You can have a desire, you can have an outcome in mind, but you have to start where you are. I also had a pattern of responding to someone's desperation around, you know, just tell me what actions to take to get results in my business. And instead, and addressing that rather than keeping the focus on the inner mindset, because that's my zone of genius, right? Because if you are energetically aligned and if you're willing to manage what happens between your two ears, you're going to get results in coaching and in your business, guaranteed. But if you stay in that desperation, if you allow your clients to stay in desperation around action rather than addressing the underlying issues, it's not going to work. And then the last one is assuming that just because they're a referral client, they are an ideal client, and they're not. Just because you've had someone referred to you by another client of yours does not automatically make them an ideal client. They still have to go through the vetting process. You still have to correctly assess whether or not you are the right best coach for them and whether or not they're ready for your coaching program. Okay, so those are some things from my perspective as a coach that I've had to learn over the last 3 years. Okay, in terms of my clients and why they didn't get results from coaching, number one, I've had clients who wanted me to solve their problem. They wanted me to do the work for them. They wanted to just, I don't know, like go along for the ride when I did all of the hustling and bustling for them. And that's not how coaching works. That's not an empowered coaching program, right? Empowered coaching is when you help your client to take action on their own. I've had clients who have been terrified of failure, like unwilling to make a mistake. And failure is such a great teaching tool in business or in any venue, right? Because the more we fail, the less of a big deal it is, and the more we learn about ourselves and what we're trying to accomplish. So having a really healthy relationship to failure can be powerful in creating new results. I've had clients who have been unwilling to get uncomfortable, just unwilling, will not do anything new in their business because it makes them feel bad. And they think that means they need to do inner work or go on a spiritual journey or take time off or write a book or distract themselves rather than getting uncomfortable. And wow, you got to get uncomfortable. We've talked about this already if you want to get new results. I've had clients who have been more committed to their resistance than getting new results. So more committed to all kinds of forms of resistance like depression, blank brain, confusion, going after shiny objects, going into rabbit holes of research and planning. Like there are all different ways that resistance can show up. And resistance is something that we need to learn how to manage and not feed into, because it's just keeping us from taking new action. I've also had clients who have created urgency in their business through fear rather than desire. And when we're functioning from fear, guess what's going to happen? Nothing new, right? Because if we go into sales conversations and we've got this fear of, oh, I have to make this sale because I need to pay my bills, it's going to have a totally different energy than if our urgency for results in our business comes from a deep desire to serve more people, to share our zone of genius, to transform what happens on this planet. The energy behind our urgency is critical. And when your urgency comes from fear, you're not going to get the results that you say that you want. And finally, I have clients who deeply believe that money comes from other people, and it doesn't. Money is energy, right? And money comes from the universe through other people to us. But as long as we're fixating on money coming from other people, it's going to limit us in terms of bringing new money into our business. So a couple pieces of advice for folks who are interviewing coaches or who are coaches themselves. Really interview each other, right? We have to really make sure it's the right, good, best fit. And coaches, when you're interviewing your prospects, think and pay attention to what's happening beyond their words. You've got to really trust your intuition on whether or not it's a good fit, because your clients want to get results and you want to help them get results. But if they're not really ready, there's nothing that you can say or do. It doesn't matter how good a coach you are, they're not going to get the results. Other pieces of advice: establish real trust and clear agreements early on, because you want to create a dynamic where your clients can stay in communication and where you as the client feel like you can stay in communication with your coach, regardless of what's coming up. Because if your coach doesn't know what's going on with you, they can't help you. So you want to stay in communication. A couple of things that I always say to my clients is, there's nothing that you can say or do that will keep me from not wanting to support you. But I can't support you if I don't know what's going on. So at some point, I'm going to piss you off, or something's going to come up where you're going to start kicking and screaming and getting upset. And at that point, you and I really need to stay in communication, because when the shit is hitting the fan, that's when I can help you most. But if you're not letting me know what's going on, I can't help you. So you really want to have some clear agreements around that. You also want to start where you are, right? Both the coach and the client have to acknowledge what's really true right now. So you could want to grow a 6-figure or a 7-figure business, but if all of your focus is on, why am I not just making $500,000 a year already, it's going to keep you from being in the present. And it's the coach's responsibility and the client's responsibility to stay in the present with what's going on in the coaching relationship. And this is true for health issues and for a number of other issues too. You also want to be willing to do the inner work. So both the coach and the client, because the inner mindset stuff is going to come up. And if coaches are reticent to engage with that, and if clients are thinking that's not the actual problem, you got to call bullshit on that. Because there's always going to be an aspect of inner work that comes up. So if this has been interesting to you, let me know. Type your feedback in the comments. And then if you would like to receive the blog post that I'm doing on this, if you want this in written form as well, just type in your email address in the comments and I will make sure that you get added to my email list. All right, y'all. It's been good to be with you. Many blessings. Bye for now.